brings
insane.
me to the fact that I was absolutely shocked by the cinematography of this movie, obviously.
I literally teared up in that moment because I was, like, in awe, and I was like, "Can you imagine if you were out there looking at this? Like, you would just never see something like this ever again in your life." Like, that's just insane.
But I feel like he wasn't even surprised because he just met an alien.
Captured this sense of, like, wonder and of magic and, like, this crazy belief that, like, these tall tales about aliens and about space and all of these things, like, can be true,
Mhm.
and I feel like they translated that so well in the movie where I was just like, "This is just, like it's so cool to feel this way again." It, like, makes you feel like a little kid again where you're just, like, dreaming about being an astronaut in space.
Because do you feel like in other, like, space movies, it feels like a green screen space movie where this stuff
Right.
is, like, fantastical and made up, and in this movie, like, you can convince me right now, right this second, that Rocky is on a star somewhere in the sky, and I would believe.
Which speaking of Rocky, I know we kinda touched on it, but they crushed it with him. For whatever reason, I was just like, they're gonna do something so weird with him where it's gonna be so clear that he is, like, CGI or, like, a
Yeah.
cartoon or whatever, and I felt like the way that they brought him to life was so perfect.
But
Yeah.
I didn't know how you would bring all of those parts to life, like how he would see like motion and movement and I didn't
Yeah.
know how they were gonna do that, and somehow they did it perfectly.
Like, every time they would kind of flash to, like, his view of Grace and of the ship, I was like, "Whoa."
Yeah. I
So
also really was worried about his voice. I
yeah.
was really thinking like they were gonna mess that up and it was gonna sound like some sort of like Wall-E type
Yeah.
thing. And
Yeah.
I loved how they did it.
The sound production in that entire movie was maybe the craziest part, like, maybe crazier than the no green screen. Like, their ability to get Rocky's language so right and translate that so well, but then also get his voice kind of perfect. And then they would have like music during times where they would want you to really feel like the action and the suspense, but then like they're in space and it's dead silent. It was just one of those things where it was like I genuinely I feel like the sound was a huge part of why I was like actually on the edge of my seat for a lot of it.
The moments where it was dead silent, I actually thought to myself, do they even do that in other movies?
I don't know.
It was I think what we're saying about all of this stuff though, like the sound, the production, the voice, everything, it was such an immersive experience. Like you were
Mhm.
fully immersed in every moment of it. Like it really took me out of the movie theater.